Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner. And welcome to this Saw franchise ranking and wrap up video for my series. Taking a look at the entire Saw franchise. I've watched and reviewed all 9 existing movies. Those are up on my channel if you want to check out those individual reviews, all in preparation for Saw X, which is coming out in about a month from now, September 29th, which I'll be having a spoiler free review around that time when it comes out. So yeah, this video is to wrap up this entire Saw franchise series that I've done for the month of August here, starting with ranking all 9 movies, all 9 existing movies that I reviewed. I'm going to rank them, and then I'm going to give you my overall thoughts about the Saw franchise and even look ahead a little bit to Saw X, as I recently watched the Saw X trailer that popped a few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago. I don't exactly remember when it came out initially, but I watched it recently for this wrap up video. So yeah, first thing we're going to do is rank all 9 existing Saw movies from worst to best. I prefer to say my least favorite to my favorite because somebody's worst, one person's worst could be somebody else's best or favorite, and vice versa. So the first thing I want to say is I don't hate any of these films. I think they're all watchable at least. None of them rise to the level of a Freddy's Dead or a Halloween Resurrection, where they're just a complete slog to get through. So I just want to put that out there. And just keep in mind that this is my opinion. This isn't the definitive ranking or anything like that. So if my number 9 is your number 1 or 2, that's great. I'm glad that you enjoy them. And if you know what my number 1 or 2 is one of your least favorite, that's great too. That's what makes this fun, and that's what makes it interesting. Everybody having different opinions. So don't hate on my ranking here. This is just my opinion based on. By the way, I have to say this is mostly based on a one-time watch for most of these movies, with the exception of the first two, which I've seen a few times. But this could change over the years, upon rewatching these movies, which I'm sure I will at some point down the road. My ranking, I'm sure, will change, just like for quite a few franchises. But as it is right now for 2023, having reviewed this entire series, um, this is my ranking as I see it, my opinion, from my least favorite to my favorite. So, of course, when I watch Saw X and have a spoiler free review for that, I might slip it into this ranking somewhere at that time based on my initial thoughts and initial reaction to the movie. But we'll worry about that in a month from now when the time comes. So without further ado, my number 9, my least favorite in this franchise, and if you've watched my individual rankings, it's probably not going to be a surprise to you. But my least favorite in this franchise is Jigsaw from 2017, the 8th movie in the franchise. And yeah, I'm not going to say too much about these movies. If you want more in depth reasons as to why they rank in the spot that they do, go ahead and check out the individual reviews. But this was a movie that was really disappointing after waiting 7 years and having them basically give us another Saw movie, which was basically the same thing with not great traps, not great characters, and another apprentice in this franchise, which is just what we needed. But yeah, I just didn't. This movie didn't do anything for me. As I said, it's not unwatchable. It's not Freddy's Dead or anything like that. I like Jigsaw, but well, I shouldn't say that I don't like Jigsaw, but it's not horrible. It's just not for me. I was really disappointed by it. So, Jigsaw from 2017 is my number 9, my least favorite. Coming in next is going to be Saw 5. I don't know how other people feel about this movie. This is Saw 5 from 2008. This is the one where you kind of have more of a cat and mouse game between Mark Hoffman and Agent Strom. And I just found that to be really uninteresting. Well, some of the traps, like the pendulum trap, is cool in this movie. The main story with these two agents squaring off and trying to outsmart each other, it's just one of the lesser Saw movies, in my opinion. I really didn't have a lot to say about it, and it really was wash, rinse, repeat at this point, without any engaging or interesting characters and a pretty convoluted premise as well. So yeah, Saw 5, not one of my favorites. It's going to come in at number 8 for me. Coming in at number 7 is going to be a lot of people's least favorite, and that is Saw 3D, or Saw the Final Chapter, because I didn't watch it in 3D, from 2010. Well, this isn't a great movie by any means. Maybe because my expectations were so low going into it. I thought it was a little better than what I was expecting, so that's why it's not the worst. That's I have it at number seven, so obviously still not one of my favorites. But I did like the central game going on with the insurance agent storyline. Um, or I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong movie. These movies run together. This is the one with Sean Patrick Flannery's character, and the storyline of him with the fake jigsaw trap that he got hurt in, which never really happened. I like that whole. I like the central game and everything. Um, and I like the twist at the end with the returning character that we get from earlier in the franchise, even though it wasn't handled in the best way. But I hate the pink fucking blood and the CGI gore in this movie. The 3D is just a gimmick, in my opinion. And for a final movie overall, it was pretty disappointing, even though it wasn't the final movie. But at the time, it just felt like there was a missed opportunity. They could have did more with it. That being said, I do enjoy it more than the previous two that I ranked underneath of this. So Saw 3D or Saw the Final Chapter is going to be number seven for me. Um, Number six is going to be. I thought about putting this actually behind Saw 3D or Saw the Final Chapter. I thought about ranking this lower than that, but ultimately I'm going to put Saw 4 from 2007 in my number six spot here. Um, this film's got a lot of problems, but I did like the gore, especially at the end. The central game is ridiculous. That's my biggest problem with this movie, where one of the characters, one of the previous characters, which was a very side character, ends up opening doors too fast, basically, and I didn't like that at all. It did have good pace, or it didn't have good pacing, and yeah, the story just didn't work for me. This is the movie where it really starts to go downhill, in my opinion. Saw four, but I did get more enjoyment out of this one with some of the traps, like the eye gouger slash limb remover. One of the final twists I thought was interesting. Um, yeah, I don't know. Saw four. They all kind of run together with to me, guys. So if I'm saying something that's from a different Saw movie, you'll have to forgive me. It's only a first time watch for me, but Saw four is going to be my number six from 2007. Um, Number five is going to be Saw 6 from 2009. Now, this is the one that a lot of people think sort of revitalized the franchise or was one of the better ones, at least later in the franchise. I would tend to agree with it to a certain extent. This is the one that I really like the central game with the insurance executive, especially having to make decisions um, that affect the people that he works with. They're kind of in cahoots with. I like that whole story idea. I thought that was an interesting direction to go. Um, I actually like the Hoffman sequence a little bit more. I like Hoffman in general a little bit more in this movie. Um, yeah, I enjoyed this movie. I don't think it's quite as high up as some other people think it is overall in the Saw franchise because the ending twist was weak for me. Um, And then the storyline outside the central game was weak for me. So, yeah, Saw 6 is good, but it's not great, if that makes sense. So that's going to be my number five for this franchise. Coming in at number four might be the biggest surprise to people. I don't know. But I'm going to put my number four is Spiral, the most recent movie before Saw X, of course, which comes out in a month. But Spiral from the Book of Saw from 2021 was a pleasant surprise for me. I really enjoyed the different road they went down with this movie while still having the essence of the saw traps in the game in the background. Um, yeah, I just thought it was a really good job of combining sort of a new interesting storyline, more of a procedural cop, dirty cop kind of movie with the saw traps and how that all fit into place. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed Samuel L. Jackson. I enjoyed Chris Rock enough in this movie. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I don't know how other people feel about Spiral. Um, I think it's genuinely liked more than it isn't, but I could be wrong about that. I don't know. You can comment down below if you think I'm crazy. Um, yeah, there really wasn't. Spiral is my number four. I really liked the movie from 2021. Now we get into the top three, and you probably can figure out what these three are already based on what I've already gone through. Coming in at number three is going to be Saw 3 from 2006. And I really enjoy Saw 3. It was just a little bit of a step down from the first two that I have on my list here, but Saw 3 has another really interesting premise here. We still got Tobin Bell that's alive. We got Shawnee Smith here. We've got some really interesting characters and game going on here. I was really engaged in this movie. The ending of this movie is just batshit crazy, um, really crazy. I like how they go back and show what happened in a couple of the first movies. The first movie specifically, they explain a certain thing that happens with a key in a bathtub. Yeah, I really like Saw 3. It's definitely one of the better in the franchise for me. Even though it's not perfect, it's not quite as good as the first. My number one and two rankings, which I'm sure you can figure out, are the first two movies in this franchise. But Saw 3 is my number three. My number two favorite Saw movie might surprise some people, but it's the original Saw from 2004. Um, the original Saw with one of the most iconic ideas, one of the most iconic twist endings. Um, I really like this movie. The fact that everybody thinks it's such a gory movie, but it's really not. It's really more about the psychological aspects of this movie. It's more about the mystery aspects of this movie with Danny Glover as Detective David Tapp. There's a lot I really enjoy in this movie. You have the sort of the helper of Zepp Hindle here, the I guess apprentice, not really apprentice. He's more just an assistant helper. Other than the acting of the two main characters, Carrie Elwes and Lee Winnell, which is pretty rough to say the least in this movie. What can you say about the original Saw? It's one of the great horror concepts directed by James Wan and written by Lee Winnell that we've ever had. And the original Saw is a classic horror movie, in my opinion. But that being said, for this franchise, there's one movie that I rank ahead of it. And that, of course, is the only one that I haven't mentioned yet. And that's Saw 2 from 2005. This movie has it all. It has great saw traps. It has a great game. It has a great mystery with Donnie Wahlberg's character. You get Shawnee Smith here. You get Tobin Bell, of course. I think the acting's better in this movie. That's part of what takes it up a notch higher than the original Saw, especially by the main characters. The movie has a larger scale than the first one, a little bit higher budget. But the story really works here. The characters really work. We still get the traps. We still get the gore. That's ratcheted up a bit in this movie. And I think I actually like the ending twist better in this movie, to be honest with you. As iconic as it is in the first Saw movie, this one, I think in a lot of ways works even better for me. So Saw 2 is definitely my favorite Saw movie, at least as of August 30th, 2023. That could change in the future. We'll see. But it's going to take a lot for another Saw movie to bump it off. So yeah, those are my rankings, guys. Of all nine existing Saw movies, the first eight here in this Blu-ray DVD pack, and then Spiral. So you can go ahead and comment down below if you think I'm crazy. If you want to, I mean, try to keep it clean. Don't hate me too much. No, I don't give a shit. You can say what you want. As I said, this is just my opinion, but comment down below your guys' list for the first nine Saw movies. I'd be interested to hear how you rank them. Again, this is just my ranking. Overall, guys, I like the Saw franchise. Well, I don't think it's quite on the level for me as Friday the 13th or even a Nightmare on Elm Street or like a Psycho franchise, which is one of the most underrated franchises in my opinion. Final Destination or Scream 2 are a little bit above this for me. But that being said, I think the reason I rank it a little bit lower is to me, parts 4 through 7 are a step down from 1 through 3, and Spiral, and hopefully Saw X. We'll see on what side of the pendulum that swings. But I think the first three movies are really good. 4 through 7 are really hit or miss, more miss than hit, in my opinion. Jigsaw is a big old miss for me, and then Spiral I thought was really they really redeemed themselves, and it's one of the better ones in the franchise for me. But overall, I enjoy the Saw franchise. I'm glad that I have all nine movies. I'll certainly, besides going to see Saw X and having a spoiler-free review for it, I'll certainly be buying that movie when it comes out on Blu-ray or DVD. Um, but yeah, I don't know. This is a great franchise. You go to a Saw movie for certain things. You go for the game, who's involved in the game, the characters. You go for the traps, of course, and the gore. Um, it's great. It's great. It's a very unique franchise. I think it's safe to say. And like I said, well, it might not be one of my top three or four horror franchises of all time. I would say it's probably in my top 10. At some point, once I watch more franchises, I'll probably do a top 10 favorite horror franchises of all time in the next year or two, I'm sure, on my channel. That would be kind of a fun thing to do. Um, but yeah, that being said, I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything. Um, I don't think I am. Oh, one thing I didn't mention that it's interesting. So the first seven movies are all unrated, and then Jigsaw and Spiral are both rated R. So I don't know if there's unrated cuts for those movies, and if Saw X is also only going to be rated R without an unrated cut. That would be kind of interesting. As far as Saw X goes, and my reaction to the trailer, I thought it was good, man. It looked really intriguing. I'm glad that Tobin Bell and Shawnee Smith are back. It looks like they're kind of trying to go back to the roots a little bit. This movie takes place between the original Saw and Saw 2, from my understanding, so that'll be interesting. Kind of a prequel, not really a full prequel, I guess, to the original, but um, having to do with John Kramer's cancer and stuff. And yeah, it looks really interesting. I'm definitely excited to check it out and give you my spoiler-free review on my channel a day or two after I watch it, around probably around October 1st, I would say. So, but other than that, I can't really think of anything else about the Saw franchise that I want to say. One thing that's kind of a bummer, I would say, is having this eight pack. There really aren't any special features or anything. It's pretty much play the movie, scene, jump to a certain scene, and like your typical settings. There's not really any special features or anything. There was on this one, and that's why I also kept the original Saw as well that I have on DVD, because they do have special features on there. So I don't know. Do I really want to go out and buy all the individual movies for special features? Probably not. It'd be nice though if they would do some kind of collection at some point down the road that has special features included with all the movies, because it would be interesting to see the behind the scenes kind of stuff going on with all of these movies. The first seven movies clearly were lower budget, with interesting ideas at the beginning, and then more torture porn and gore in the middle. And then the last few movies that come out, they definitely up the budget quite a bit to varying degrees. Not great for Jigsaw, pretty damn good in my opinion for Spiral. And I'm assuming Saw X is probably going to have a little bit higher budget. We'll see. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps everything up for this Saw franchise review series. Like I said, I'd be curious to hear your ranking down below and what you think of my ranking. Please like this video and hit the little notification bell as well so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel down below as well so you don't miss any of my great horror content. I'll have a video for the very next series, which I'm getting into for September in the next day or so. So stay tuned for that. And I got great horror content ideas going into 2024 already. So you're in good hands here at my channel. But I hope everybody enjoyed this franchise, especially for you Saw fanatics out there. Like I said, I would say I'm more of a middle of the road to above average Saw lover. I'm not one of the like higher end. I absolutely love Saw no matter what, but I'm also not a hater. Somewhere in between. I can appreciate the franchise for what it is, and I hope you appreciated this franchise review and my videos for this series. So thank you for watching. I hope everybody's ending their summer on a good note. But of course, as always, stay scared. Bye.